Welcome to episode 65 of Enter the Mind podcast, the most real talk, no nonsense podcast on the empowering of the mind. This week's topic will be energy transmutation. But before we get to that, Kyra, how's it going this week?
It's going well. I got my heart broken over the weekend, and I've just been transmuting all of my energy into work, and it's been working pretty damn good. So yeah, maybe it was just what I needed, eh? How are you on your end?
Got it. First of all, sorry to hear about that. But second of all, now I understand why you chose today's topic as you chose it, because I've been there for sure. So I'm looking forward to a very fruitful discussion. I'm doing well. I just got back from Los Angeles. I was there for another self-help seminar. It's just a lifestyle by now, and it's great. It's humbling, it's humbling to get feedback because we always have ego, we always have insecurity. Everybody has it to varying degrees, and I think that's a major obstacle to people's self-growth, mine included. And so to really put your ego in check and really have it sit down in the corner where it belongs so that you can get on with life and push forward and take risks, I think is a very important skill. And so that's what I was practicing this weekend.
That's really nice. That sounds, how many days was it?
There was 2, Saturday,
That's
Sunday.
awesome. Yeah, that sounds fun. I mean, what a great way to spend your weekend. Just diving into the ego, learning to control your ego.
Exactly. Yep.
That sounds fun.
So tell us about this topic and sort of give us a jumping platform.
Okay. Well, ever since I read the book, what is it called? The one with the alchemizer, the alchemy. What's that popular book by Paulo?
Yeah, The Alchemist by Paulo.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, The Alchemist. I don't know. I've always been fascinated with the word alchemy. I love it so much, and I love the meaning of it. So I just wanted to talk a lot about transmuting your energy and really taking that energy and being able to channel it somewhere else. And I've recently been drinking a lot, not in like a bad way, but like I've been, drinking a lot. And what I came to realize was there was a deeper meaning behind it, obviously, and as to why I was drinking more than usual, because I usually have like a glass of wine. But and I realized that all of this energy that is going on in my life right now, I'm just going to alchemize it, because I'm sick and tired of just kind of letting this energy sort of take over and then me acting with it. I'm going to take this energy, I'm going to feel it, and I'm going to push it, literally maneuver it and sort of drive it into something else, like something that matters to me. Like, maybe I'll work on my book, or maybe I'll read a book, or maybe I'll get to some work that I've been trying to do. But the whole point of it is to not let a specific sort of energy that is, I guess, sort of downing take over you, and learn to alchemize it and turn it into gold, turn it into something that is brilliant, which I've been doing the past few days, and it's just working wonderfully. So, yeah. What are your thoughts?
Makes me think of windmills and how they capture like wind energy, how they just capture the energy and they use it to generate electricity. And so they're transmuting wind energy into electrical energy. And I think that speaks to the universality of what we talk about in these episodes, that the human mind is no different than anything else in reality, which is it works on energy, it works on energy flow, it works on movement of energy, all of these things. And it's about time that people start to view the mind and the human being as an energy system, like it truly is. What do you think? See you writing.
I really like, yes, I really like that you said it turns the wind energy into electrical energy. Because I guess I just never thought of, that as a windmill, but I think it's super freaking cool. And the whole thing about so it's the law of perpetual transmutation of energy that really drives me to be able to alchemize things. And I think that it would be a main driver for you as well, for our listeners. And so the law of perpetual transmutation of energy states that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, which we all know, which is amazing. It just kind of flows in and out from the quantum field, but it changes from one state to another. So this means that the energy in the universe is always transmuting into and out of form. And you can tap into this energy and transform it into anything that you desire. Now, that's just something that I read off my laptop really quick that I pulled up before the podcast. But yeah, pretty much it's matter. And, it cannot be created nor destroyed. You're always kind of sifting through it and tapping into different versions of it. So like the windmill transmuting wind energy into electrical energy, when you are going through a hard time, you're transmuting that wind energy into electrical energy, and you start to create from it and you start to transmute it because it's so much energy. All you need to do is just tap into a different version of that energy because you have the energy. You just need to watch where you're directing it and what's coming out of that energy.
That's interesting because I think you're right. Like negative energy is still energy. And you could be upset about something, sad about something, but it's still energy. And so it's maybe a matter of the direction that it's going towards, or, I mean, I don't know. Again,
Yes.
we're making this up as we discuss it, but go ahead.
I love that you're kind of thinking of it in the same way that I am, because I couldn't exactly root from it or not, but I'll draw like a little picture right here so you and everyone can see because I think it's a bit hard to explain. So if we do it so if we have the word energy right here in the middle of the page, right? Energy is energy. Now it can be spent in the negatives, or it can be spent in the positives. And it all depends, you see? So do you see how like we're calling kind of like energy like the home base? Because it's like negative energy is still energy.
Right. So on the center of the page, you have energy, and then to the left, you wrote a negative sign, and to the right, you put a positive sign. So it could go one of two directions, basically.
Yes. Yes. And then I guess that would be based on all of the thoughts that are dominating our mind at that moment.
Yeah, that makes sense. That our thoughts would direct the flow towards one direction or another.
Interesting. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that, like emotions, we really don't choose them that much, or at least that's what I always say, is that we don't really choose our emotions, but we choose, to some extent, we can choose thoughts and images that we put in our mind, and then those thoughts and images cause emotions. So we kind of affect it, just like we said in the conveyor belt model of the mind episode. You can put some material into the machine, but then it's kind of out of your hands, and the human mind is what it is. And you're going to feel certain emotions. So
what you were talking about was our emotions, right? Because our emotions is literally our energies in motion. And those are the specific energies and vibrations that we pick up from the quantum field that we tune into, which is the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. And then when we're tapping into those specific emotions, those energies in motion then start to come into us because they're energies and they're in motion and they're inside of us. And then I guess that it just, it pretty much just all comes down to what thoughts and vibrations you're tuning into in the quantum field for all of the energy that you have, that, that foundation of energy that you have to be, put in specific directions.
I'm glad you brought up the frequencies, the vibration and frequency, because you can't go through a physics class without talking about vibration or frequencies. And you shouldn't go through a psychology class without talking about vibrations and frequencies. And so how is that related to emotions? If we're going to start to, are emotions frequencies, or do emotions put us into certain frequencies, or how should we think about it? And then also, like, the more practical question of what should we do? Like, what are the steps to changing your frequency and changing your vibration? Because I feel like that's the $1 million question.
You've seen the experiment with the water and the plants and stuff, and people are told to like feel a specific way about the water and the plants, and then like one plant lives and the other dies. And then like you've seen the pictures of the water where like if you put a specific emotion towards it, like hate, then they put it in the microscope and it has the pattern.
Yeah, I've heard about those studies a little bit. Yeah.
Yes. So it's amazing. And what it is, it's genuinely like, just like the way that you talk to yourself matters, just like the way that you talk to the universe matters. Like everything is always going to come back to you through vibration of your emotions, of your energies and motions, which could be considered frequencies, because every single emotion, every single energy has a specific frequency and a specific vibration. So if our energies, and we're grabbing them from the quantum field, and those are specific frequencies, then all we have to do is learn to tap into the specific frequencies that we want, because our bodies are made up of like 78% or like 83% water or something like that. So if we are collecting specific energies, which is emotions, specific vibrations, into our body of water that is in our body, then it's going to be like the same pictures that they show as examples when you're feeling hate towards yourself or you're feeling love. And that's going to be your water sort of vibration. And then, so I think that that's how we would change our frequencies. Did that make sense?
It's interesting. I never thought of the whole water connection, how we're mostly water, and whether water can, I guess, absorb or take on frequencies from its surroundings. But what about, like, I know gratitude is an exercise commonly talked about in self-help, and I think it's true. Like, if you make a gratitude list, you'll probably raise your vibration. But what are some ways, I guess, physical exercise? Maybe there's nothing mystical about it. Maybe like raising your vibration is not as hard as we think it is. What do you think?
I love that so much. And I don't think that it's as hard as we might think it is either. I feel like, when you were a kid, right, raising your vibration was so easy. You'd call up a pal, you'd hang out, you'd ride bikes around town, you'd laugh until the sun goes down, and you'd go to sleep watching Everybody Hates Chris or something like that. Everything is quite simple. I just feel like we forget how to do it the older that we get. But something that really hit me, what you said, was like the gratitude thing. And it was, so we can write a list, right? And it'll probably raise our vibration. But it was those words that you said, it'll probably raise our vibration. So what is it that is raising our vibration? Like, what is raising our vibration. The reason why our vibration raises when we focus on gratitude is because we come back to that initial stockpile of energy, and that's divine source. That divine, like that divinity of energy is there. And when we're focusing on gratitude, it has all of the other things that we're worried about that really don't matter fall away, which returns us back to that energy source pile that is our foundation and divine source. And that's why, you know, raising our vibration has to do with self-love, has to do with gratitude, has to do with coming to reality, has to do with talking to God. Because when we do all of these things, when we focus on feeling good, we return back to that foundation of energy that is the divine source, because everything else melts away because we don't have any more energy to focus on anything else.
Something I've been thinking about these days is how when we do something that we really love or are genuinely excited about, we get a surge of energy. And when we do something that really like bores us, or we just don't, our heart's not in it, we can get tired. And it's not a matter of something like caffeine. You can drink caffeine, but if you're doing a task that you really don't want to do, it's almost putting in like artificial energy, and it'll only get you so far. You know, it might rev your heart rate a little bit, but it might help you focus a little bit, but it's not the same as like you switch up the task and you start doing something that really is in alignment with your soul. And when you do something like that, what I've noticed is just these channels open inside of you, and the energy flows much more freely. And it's almost like tapping into some sort of really large or infinite reserve of energy, like what you drew in the middle of your paper there. And yeah, I don't know, almost reminds me of last week when we talked about remembering who you are and being true to yourself, your true self. Like what do the energy reserves look like there? Like in our true self, is it like some sort of like underground oil field like in the Middle East, where you just have this like stockpile of potential energy that just is waiting to be used as fuel?
I see mine as like a glowing pot of like just white, and it's just glowing, and it's just got all of these beautiful colors bursting out of it. So that's definitely my my stockpile of divine source. But you said something that really caught my ear, and it was right before you were talking about it was like the artificial energy, like drinking a cup of coffee to do a task that you don't even want to be doing. And it brought me to think of, I don't know if this is a thought or not, but it was in my mind. It's an idea. So I'm wondering if, you know, say you're doing a task that you really don't want to be doing, right? So you're trying to like cover it up with like gratitude or self-love, you know, or a massage or something like that, but it's something that you really don't want to be doing. So it's almost like artificial energy. And I'm wondering if the self-love techniques could turn into a source of artificial energy. Should that be a warning for our listeners?
What would that look like?
I guess it would look like, okay, well, like you said, so like say you're working like a super mundane job, right? And you're super tired in life, and you're drinking this cup of coffee to try and give you energy, but there is no energy to reach into. That energy source pot is empty because you're doing something that you don't love, right? So I hope that can draw a picture in our beautiful listeners' minds. And then also and then energy. So if you're doing something that you don't entirely love, right? So maybe you're working a mundane job, and then you're trying to reach into your pot and grab for gratitude and self-love, but there's still not much to grab from your divine energy source. because you're still doing something that you don't love. So it's not going to, I guess, be as best as it could be. Did that make sense?
Yeah. And I think it's also not just the task you're doing, but kind of how you think about the task. Because if you see a higher purpose in it, then that could also open some channels for energy. Like maybe the task is very simple. Like maybe you are, I don't know, collecting the carts at a grocery store, and maybe that's not what you want to do for the rest of your life. But if you're doing it and practicing, doing it to the best of your potential and doing it faster and efficient and timing yourself and seeing if you could beat your best time and going for that, sort of seeing some deeper benefit from it, maybe I think that could increase your energy, kind of turning it into a game or something.
I definitely agree with that. And I love that. Because yeah, I guess, I mean, today's topic is all about transmuting energy. So if you're, you know, in a situation that you don't love, for example, you know, my heartbreak, clearly I'm feeling very down. I've been in a depressive state, wobbling around the house for like 3 days now, but I woke up today at like 4 a.m. right now. It's like, I'm transmuting this fucking energy, man. Like I'm just going to transmute this energy. Right. So when you're in that position, when, everything just seems to be taking over and you don't have an energy source, divine energy source to draw from, you will have that divine energy source to draw from if you just decide to put it into something else. So like it can take over your body, maybe let it take over your body for a little bit, but you eventually need to alchemize that energy and you need to put it into something else because it's taking all of your energy and you're not going to have anything to draw from.
Well, if we take the example of the breakup, or I don't know what it was, heartbreak, you said heartbreak. So for any human being, social acceptance or rejection or relationships or building relationships or losing relationships, all of that is extremely important to any human being. And that's a result of the millions of years of evolution as a social species. So that in that moment of experiencing the heartbreak, it's almost like a channel is opening and you're experiencing a flow of energy from millions of years of living and experience. And like, that's why the volume or the intensity of the emotion is so strong. Maybe just throwing out ideas here. But it's channeling so much history, so much content, so much volume, and into one moment. It's like trying to funnel so much energy in through one small moment of the heartbreak. And it's like, right, it's almost like a bottleneck phenomenon where you can't fit all that energy into the one moment. It's just too intense. It's like, and it's this feeling of like wanting, like the dam is about to break, the water's just gonna like rush through it. I don't know, it's an intense feeling, but
that was the most accurate. I don't think I could ever come up with anything more accurate than the words that you just said, whereas there's just way too much fucking energy to be fitting into the moment. And that's amazing. I love that so much. We should make it we should make a topic out of that one day, because I'm curious to know the science about that. But yeah, so pretty much everything that you're saying, all of that energy that you can't fit into that one moment, and it's like you may get some of that energy out, but there's still so much energy left. And I feel like the way to alchemize it is to literally just like sure, get mad. I'm not saying like don't get mad, but like the point is like don't get mad, like just grow. Like, because chances are whatever is getting you this upset, there's something that you're wanting to do inside. Like there's something that you need to do. So when something like this happens, you just have to write it out and be like, all right, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to read this fucking book right here. I'm going to read this book. I'm going to get those boots that I've been wanting to get. I'm going to get some face oil because I just really feel like I want to love myself. And within all of these things that you've been wanting to do, you're taking all of that energy that didn't fit into that one moment and you're riding it like a motherfucking maniac. And you're saying, I'm going and I'm getting all of this because there is just too much fucking energy here and I need to put it into something or it's going to take over me and it's going to just hold me here stuck.
Yeah, totally.
Did that make sense? Is that a clear path to transmuting energy?
I think it's clear, yeah, that something needs to be done with the energy because it's being so focused and it's just more than, it's a huge inflow. So then there needs to be an equal outflow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's going to store up too much and then it's, I don't know, it's just not, it's like lightning, it's lightning happens because there's too much charge up in the clouds and it needs to discharge, and then the lightning bolt comes down to earth so that it can dissipate the charge. And so movement needs to happen. I think the mistake would be to, in a moment of heartbreak, just sit around and do nothing and sit around with all of that energy that's like busting at the seams and not do anything. Like, so like all those examples you gave, like just taking an action, reading a book, going to exercise, almost like a wind up doll, right? That's wound up really tight. Like you don't want to just hold it there doing nothing. You want to let it walk and get that energy released. So I think that we've built on, and here's my final thought for the day, I think we've put just another layer on top of this philosophy or psychology that we're building, which is understanding the mind, and understanding the mind means understanding energy. So we've added, I think today, another layer to this understanding. And yeah, that's how it happens, one layer at a time. What are your final thoughts for the day? Oh, and if you have a power question, please add that as well.
I'll definitely add a power question. I definitely, yeah, we've uncovered a lot today with the connection of energy and emotions and frequencies and vibration. I think that this was just a beautiful connection on a deeper level for us to just all live better lives and be happier, deal with the bad things better and transmuting our energy into fucking gold. So let's see. I guess today's power question can be, how familiar are you with the laws of nature? How familiar are you with literally the natural laws of life? Because those natural laws are going to 100% help you get and create and experience the life of your deepest sexy soul desires. And so just, how familiar are you? And is that something that you would like to learn? The natural laws, the way that the natural laws of life work.
I like it. Yeah, it's time that we incorporate the human into nature rather than viewing it as separate from nature. So point well made. So that's I think that does it for episode 65. and great discussion as always. To the viewers and listeners, if you have comments, thoughts, please write those in the form of a review or a comment if you're watching on YouTube. And if this was helpful to you, make sure you show your love by hitting the like button and sharing with your family and friends. We'll be back next week with episode 66 and another layer on top of this understanding and empowering of the mind. So we'll see you then.